Hello, Abigail here with the Tarotscopes for Pisces season, Scorpio sun, moon, and rising. All right, Scorpios, we're here. We are in this partial eclipse season. We have so many major retrograde moments happening. It's a lot. Your ruler, Mars, stations direct 5 days after we enter Pisces season on the 23rd of February. I think it's a breath of fresh air. It's going to really feel better once this happens. Doesn't mean Pisces season is easy though. And, I don't sugarcoat things. I try to make things digestible, but we do not pretend that they are not what they are. This is a rough season. I think there's this dichotomy that we're going to experience, which is very Saturnian of extreme good and extreme difficulties. Saturn gives us abundance, but within that, there are also lessons that are not so easy to digest. So it's going to be a lot, especially with the eclipses. But let's kind of run through what's happening. I have a video on this kind of that's a little more generic that goes more into depth in these things, but I'm going to kind of put these in context of this reading. So then the next is Pisces new moon on the 27th. This is kind of a precursor to that full moon in Virgo, which is an eclipse. So this is a moment to get really clear on intention and desire, because those things are kind of become a north star for us as we are flung into the chaos that is an eclipse cycle. I don't believe eclipses should be feared, but they are intense and they happen very quickly and can be really disorientating. Disorienting? I don't know. They both work. So just know that finding something to hold on to, and it can be something really simple. It can be a short-term dream. It doesn't have to be this massive, expansive thing. It can be like, when the spring comes, I'm going to go visit this favorite place of mine. That is enough for a dream in this moment if you're not feeling very dreamy. Other major events happening is we have that Venus retrograde in your fellow Mars-ruled sign of Aries, and then it goes into Pisces. So not only is kind of your fellow Martian energy getting this intense moment, but also Venus retrograde is going to go into a trine, either by direct degree if you're in the later degrees of Scorpio, or kind of by association if you're in the earlier degrees. So impactful, yes. Especially if you are, under a day chart, the Mars Venus retrogrades are not easy, because as they're not to all people. And by day chart, basically, so the horizon line is that, first seventh house horizon. If you are under the line, you are a night chart. If you are above that line, you are a day chart. That's how you know. It's very easy. It's not as complicated as it seems, which is most of astrology, actually. Then Mercury will move into Aries on the 3rd, and this is important because Mercury is also stationing retrograde around the same degree that Venus stations retrograde, and they will have this companion retrograde. So we're doubling up, folks. Yay! And we get that total lunar eclipse in Virgo. It is a heavy hitter. It's going to be a lot. It's going to feel like a fire starter. And then the next eclipse, which is an Aries season, which is the kind of partner to this eclipse, we kind of go through that eclipse portal, which will be interesting, into the spring equinox. We're also going to see a lot of endings. It's interesting because the full moon eclipse is going to feel more like a kickoff or a removal, and I think the new moon is going to feel more like a culmination based on how this is working out. So there's this inversion, which is super interesting. And then the day after, the ruler of that, Virgo eclipse is going to station retrograde, Mercury. And then we head into Aries season. Obviously, there's a lot going on in between. I cover these in my weekly astrology videos, but those are kind of the big earth-shaking moments. And if we look at it not by sign, but by month, the month of March is just wild as a whole. So just be aware of that. Then you're also going to have, a fellow Martian sign, so moving into energies that you're aware of. And then also we have, Mars in that post-retrograde shadow, where finally we're moving ahead, but we're still dealing with all of these issues caused, dug up, revealed by the Mars retrograde. Anyways, I just wanted you to be aware of that because there's so much happening you need to know. Then I want to move to your Oracle card, which is Pierce the Veil, Move Beyond Illusion. And it is from the Lost Oracle deck by Fiona Horn. I'm really bad at shouting out creators of decks, even though I'm very specific about my deck and I want everyone to know about them. Um, but I got this one memorized. I'm going to work on my other decks later. So I think this is about, kind of coming out of the muddle of that Mars retrograde. Now, is Mars still in detriment in Cancer? Yes. But this is a moment to start to really dig our little fingies into your desires because they've been under construction. They've been shifted and yanked around and put into question. And now is the time to kind of return back to your center and to find a way forward and to find a way to kind of move through and connect with reality, which is interesting because we are in Pisces season where the connection to reality is not always apparent. However, Saturn is there. And so that sun is going to hit Saturn, the North Node, and um, Neptune. And that is going to help us connect, for better or for worse, with reality. And Saturn in Pisces creates, this inability to completely escape that Pisces sometimes offers. So it is possible. It will be a lot to do with Saturnian things. Um, I don't think a lot of other signs are technically going to be called to this. A lot of them are dealing with personal stuff, but it's time for you to deal with a lot of external problems that have been brewing during the Mars retrograde. So it's time to kind of, especially with this image, to grab onto your knife and really get moving with the things you've been wanting to do that the Mars retrograde has kind of put on hold. Like I said, I wouldn't kick this off until we get to like the second week of Pisces season because we'll be on the other side of Mars stationing. But yeah, you've got things to do. It is interesting because the cards, they don't really talk about doing a lot of new things. But then they also do. But let's talk about it. So we start off with the Eight of Swords. It's interesting because this is also something that Libra got. In spite of your need to get things done to move forward, you're going to feel trapped. We're not quite through the shadow period of the Mars retrograde. That's going to take a couple months because that's how long it takes Mars to do anything. So you will feel a bit trapped. I think it's going to be about focusing on, I did talk about externalized thing, but also knowing that you can cause external change by focusing on internal change. And I think this card specifically in this deck is really helpful because it does have the chrysalis image. And if you know anything about a chrysalis, it only looks like this right before you're about to come out of it. The monarch butterfly chrysalis is a beautiful jade green color. And you only get this visibility of the wings when it's just about to unfurl. So we are very close to your, coming out as a beautiful butterfly moment. Maybe it's going to take all the way to, Aries season with that Aries new moon eclipse. Interesting to note that Mars at 22 degrees on that day, which I think is the 29th of March, is the same Mars as the full moon back in Libra season. That was also not an eclipse, but an Aries full moon. So there's a lot of little hidden astrological gems as we move through. You were very close to being able to be external. And because of that proximity, you are going to be able to kind of start to move beyond your chrysalis. Is it a slow process? Yes. Should you cut yourself out of your chrysalis? No, that's dangerous. You could hurt yourself. So trust timing, trust in this need to connect with reality. Also trust the process of moving through that veil, of getting through the illusion that is Pisces, the illusion that is Neptune conjunct the North Node. Once the North Node and Neptune kind of separate, Neptune goes into Aries, we are going to get a little more in touch with reality. And that happens, I want to say, a few days after that eclipse. So like beginning of April. I want to say April 1st. April Fool's Day. So know that this is a process. I also, because of the astrology, I do think this is going to bleed into the spring equinox, especially as those eclipses kind of pull pull Pisces season into the spring equinox and pull Aries season into Pisces season. Kind of is going to create this weird little time warp where it feels like the beginning and end, and everything that has happened is all culminating at one time, which is a lot. And then we need to talk about grounding, because we have the Mother of Pentacles. So how can you care? How can you tend to things around you? That's going to be your point of grounding. That's going to be your point of being able to connect with reality in kind of this liminal between seasons, between eclipses, in a retrograde. That's how you're going to ground, is focusing on where you care and why you care and who you care for, and allowing yourself in this chaos to invest even in moments where it doesn't feel like you should invest because everything is so unstable. We only get so much time to do and connect with the situations and people we are with. Make good use of it. Not because I think you're going to lose a bunch of stuff per se in this season, but because, my Scorpios, sometimes you can, it's like a scorpion, sometimes you can hide away when you feel upheaval and you feel things kind of drifting. You either go into hyperdrive and hold on too tightly, or you let everything go. And in this season, you're going to have to do both. You're going to have to release this need for control with this Eight of Swords. And you're also going to need to hold ever so tightly and dearly to the things that you love and be okay with either outcome. And by okay, I don't mean happy. I just mean okay. So allow your tenderness to shine. Allow yourself to care and to show care and also to be cared for. You know, you have such deep capacity for connection and trust, but I know that if that's ever broken, this just feels so impossible to heal. So maybe it's not relying on other people to bring that to you, but knowing that you offer all of the things that you find beautiful and lovely, and that is your gift to the world. And that is your Mother of Pentacles moment. To be everything that you desire and more, and to trust that the people who value and desire that will find you. And that not every single person that you meet is going to be a lying B word who is not reliable. We do have more cards, of course. We do have this Nine of Wands. It's a struggle. I'm not going to lie, all of Pisces season is a struggle. Most signs are struggling. You're not alone. You're not the only one. I do think, and I love the representation of this card, is like you do have a goal, you do have a purpose, you do have a dream. There is an end in sight, but it is going to take effort. You're going to have to process and deal with all of these wands, and the frustrations and the things that you desire are going to require a struggle and going to require effort. Kind of comes back to our Mother of Pentacles. You know, the tenderness and beauty of this card is the labor, is the care, is the time invested, the love spent. And you're going to have to apply this to this Nine of Wands when it comes to your hopes and dreams and aspirations. I don't really think you're going to fully attain them by the end of Pisces season, but I think your kind of renewed desire to connect with reality and to create, not just in your internal world, but in your external world, is going to really come into play here and really help be your guide in this really intense, overwhelming, almost, if not absolutely too much season that Pisces is going to be. And like I said, there is the bright side with Mars and Pisces, but there's also the downside, not Mars and Pisces, God. With Saturn and Pisces, the bright side is that yes, you can get your hands on things. The downside is that sometimes we just need a break, and that would be nice. But it's not going to really happen in the season, especially since you need to be connecting with what is real. You need to be connecting with what is difficult and what is valuable and the truth and the reality of existence. Some Pisces I know, not Pisces, I'm sorry guys, the brain is not braining. Some Scorpios I know create false realities in order to create a reality that they want. And that can lead to kind of the unfortunate uh, history that y'all have with being considered sneaky little liars. Um, but it's not because you think you're lying, it's because you've created a reality where you're telling the truth. And we could argue the semantics of right and wrong here, but I don't want to. I think the key for you to be a healthy Scorpio who utilizes Martian violence and power for the benefit of yourself and others is to release a reality where you are right, to release a reality where your intentions are always good, and to embrace the reality where you are who you are and that is valuable. And that maybe there are some settings where your approach, where your intensity is not accepted or loved. Those areas are not for you, and you don't need to fit into them. And so you don't need this alternate reality where you're always right and where, and I don't think always right is correct. And you're gonna be like, I don't want to be always right, Abigail. What are you talking about? To be always on a path of true intention. Um, and that can lead you to creating illusion, which is very water sign of you. And the illusion isn't technically for others, it's for you. So release that need for illusion, release the need to be seen as something that you're not, and embrace the violence of being a Scorpio. And if you have done work and if you are healed in certain ways, you have already embraced that violence. But in this Pisces season, it's a calling to double down, which you're very good at. And then we have this Six of Cups. You know, there is some journey down memory lane that is needed in this season. There is some path already traveled that you must traverse. I think this is also a moment where you need to go back to the past in order to find the future. And whatever is kind of blocking and holding you with that Eight of Swords and that Nine of Wands, the answer to that is in your past. To find where this struggle started, to find where the blocks began. And you don't need to go through and destroy them, but you need to go through and understand them and to empathize with them and to heal parts of yourself that are afraid of seeing things as they are, that are afraid of being your rawest and most real self. And a part of that raw, realness is that Mother of Pentacles, is that deep tenderness inside of you. You have this Scorpio shell, and on the inside, you're a squishy little water sign, which is neither a bad nor a good thing. But there is an answer in your past. There is something in things that have already happened that you need to untangle and to sit with in order to move into a future where you not only get, you know, the kind of haze of the water sign that you are, but you also get the stark reality of Mars, which is going to help you achieve the very real dreams that you have. Last but not least, we do have Ace of Cups. There is something new and beautiful in the season in spite of all of this. And I think that starts with you going back to some old cups so that you can move forward with a new cup. It's also about allowing yourself to find new things and to be a bit naive and a bit honest. And I don't mean allow yourself to be taken advantage of, but allow yourself to believe that fresh, new, beautiful things are possible, that dreams and desires can be refreshed, that the tired, exhausted parts of you deserve a beautiful, freshly poured glass of water. And that you can take that drink and that the engaging in emotions is as much a part of reality as being fully present physically. That emotions aren't these amorphous things, that they are in their own realm, very real and very solid. Oftentimes we view emotions as these enigmas that we can't get our hands on. And yeah, in some ways that's true. But in the world of the emotional landscape of all of our lives, emotions are very real and solid things that cannot just be bypassed or shoved down or ignored. You're going to have to face them. But in that facing, going back to that Six of Cups, you will find something new and refreshing and real that is safe and exciting and invigorating and peaceful all at the same time. And it's not because it is innately those things, it is because it is innately those things for you specifically. A non Scorpio is just not going to understand. So I encourage you to, in all of this, look forward to and seek out this Ace of Cups and to drink from it when you find it and to believe that it is a renewable source of energy and strength and passion moving forward. All right, my Scorpios, you are in the ranks of many other people who are going to be going through a really dynamic and I don't want to say extreme, but intense season. I do think you're well suited for it, but the Mars retrograde has left you tired. Allow yourself to rest when you have to rest. I do think with that Eight of Swords, you might be forced into being inanimate for a little longer than you would like, but relish that as well. Love you all. You can ask me any comments you have below this video. Please like and subscribe. It means the world to me. And blessed Pisces season. I will see you in a different space and time.